Brain rot is the word of 2024, according to the Oxford Dictionary. They have ranked it, the word that defined this year, and given it an official definition in the Oxford Dictionary. Brain rot is the supposed deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual state, especially viewed as the result of overconsumption of material, now particularly online content, considered to be trivial or unchallenging. This word won against 5 other finalists, which included demure, slop, dynamic pricing, romantasy, never heard of that one, and lore.
Romantasy?
Never heard of that in my life.
I feel like I remember I was telling you about I was listening to
erotic fantasy novels.
I was listening to the lady talking about anti-wokeness in the book publishing industry today, because I'm going down the rabbit hole on YouTube, and I feel like I heard that one today as like a category in like the book awards, whatever she was talking about.
Oxford University Press says that brain rot gained new prominence in 2024, with its frequency of use increasing from 230% since 2023. Wow. I think we were early.
Yes.
Early to the brain rot train. Mm-hmm. Now, this has raised concerns about the dangers that brain rot and social media overuse poses to Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
And now I'm surprised to report that the Newport Institute, a behavioral health care provider, has begun providing medical treatment for brain rot.
They tell you what causes it and examples and all of this stuff.
Brain rot is now considered officially a medical condition.
It's not in the DSM, but
it might be in the coming years, though. It mostly affects Gen Z and Gen Alpha, who've been raised in the digital age. And they define it as a condition of mental fogginess, lethargy, reduced attention span, and cognitive decline that results from an overabundance of screen time.
Yeah. Yep.
Would you actually agree with that?
I mean, I think that
it's a medical condition.
I think I think that if that was a medical condition, then you're doing it to yourself through external factors.
But right? A lot of people say that addiction is a disease.
If they're talking about it as an addiction, look, there's also a lot of other things that would go into that they're not talking about. Like, there's great ways to combat that, like getting exercise and eating right and things like that.
Sure.
But it kind of runs contrary to the whole thing.
Medically, addiction is classified as a disease.
Yes.
I'm not sure I agree with the way that's interpreted always, but like you said, it is something that you're bringing upon yourself by your overconsumption of whatever that may be. And it's not just a substance, it's also a habit like social media doom scrolling.
Social media addiction would run like right next to the idea of brain rot, as like brain rot being an outcome of what happens when you go through severe social media addiction.
It's more of a symptom.
And
I
mean, you talk about this all the time. Like, I'll come back from the weekend, I'm like, oh my God, it was so nice. I was not on the internet nearly as much as I am during the week. Mm-hmm. When we started the show, I didn't have Twitter. Like, I didn't want to use Twitter because I was able to do the work, oddly enough, probably not as well. Like, you just get access to information faster and are able to catch on to trends quicker if you have it. But unfortunately, that's kind of a side effect of this job. And one of those things is, like, depending on the days, and I can't tell you why it is. Some days I will scroll a lot. Some days I will scroll almost not at all. But I wouldn't be able to tell you why that is. It's not like the news is particularly more interesting on the days I'm scrolling more. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like I'm reading it and I'm like, oh my God, there's just so much to read. No, the doom scrolling just happens. But then there's other days where the news is just as uninteresting and I can just put my phone down quicker and pay attention to it less.
Do you think you're addicted to social media?
Yeah.
Do you think you are, Phil?
At least partially.
I don't know how addictive my personality is. The only thing that I've ever been addicted to that was hard to quit was smoking. I used to drink a lot of booze and I stopped that. I've smoked, I used to smoke pot regularly and I stopped that without any kind of issue. So I'm not sure if I have an addictive personality or not. I imagine that I'm addicted to, it's a habit, definitely. I don't know that I'm addicted though.
Most people, I'm guessing, have a latent social media addiction these days. or smartphone addiction, whatever you want to call it, but they wouldn't find out until they attempt to put it out of their life.
Whenever Instagram goes down for 2 hours once in a while.
That's when you find out. You're like having that oh shit moment. Yeah. And most people are not going to even attempt to root that influence out of their life, myself included. And I can sit here and tell myself it's because of my job.
I was just.
But there are plenty of times as well that I am not using it for work, and I know full well that it's just a stimulation. It's just something in my face.
So like, not to sound too earthy crunchy, but like, there are times where like something will go wrong with like whatever my plans were, and I can't like use the phone or whatever. I'm almost loath to admit this, but like I will sit there and meditate. Like that is really a great use of time to just sit there and kind of be present with like
your thoughts.
Well, no, not your thoughts. Like meditation's different than that, but like sitting there and just being present with your existence sitting there. Like that's kind of like the whole like meditation's not like it's really it's easy, but it's hard. All you're doing is sitting there, and like when your mind starts to wander, just say, hold on a second. No, I'm not letting my mind wander. Actually, I'm thinking about the fact that I'm sitting here. And you just sit there. That's why the whole like they tell you like to breathe, focus on your breath, because it's just something that you can do. And when your mind starts wandering, you start thinking of other things. My mind is wandering. And start thinking about your breath again, and just sit there and think about the way it feels to sit there, the way that your feet feel, the way that whatever you're sitting on feels, and just think about your breath. And that's all meditating is, and that is a great way to pass time.
But why are you loath to admit that?
Because hippies do it, and I don't like hippies.
I will say
they didn't invent it. It's fine.
There is a difference here. I would say that I fall more into the zombie scrolling category than the doom scrolling category, which it
what
separates
the hell is
here.
the difference?
It says
there's video gaming, zombie scrolling, doom scrolling, and just plain social media addiction.
I'm seeing some spelling errors in this Newport Institute thing. It says the Brainrot, which I assume they mean brain rot, behavior refers to mindless habitual scrolling with no destination in mind or benefit derived. When zombie scrolling, you vacantly stare at your phone as you flit from one feed to another. I definitely do that. I think I'm a mixture of that.
Doom scrolling involves searching for distressing information and negative news. Doom scrollers feel an overwhelming desire to be up to date on the latest information, even when it's disturbing.
Like, I don't want it to be disturbing, but I do feel the need to be up on the latest information just because my job requires it.
It just happens to usually be disturbing.
Yes. Yeah.
And I guess the social media addiction habit would be more about checking notifications, checking your comments, your likes. And then gaming, obviously a lot of people let that take way too much time out of their day. I just, I recall you looking at a paper menu, and you admitted that you tried to scroll on it with your finger.
Yes, I did. Yes, that was true. It was laminated, but yes.
Yeah. You were looking at a physical menu, and your brain like went to the place where you're looking at a screen.
But remember,
expected it to move.
Part of the reason that happened though was because I had just been looking at the menu on my phone.
Yes.
I called the menu for the place that we were at up on my phone.
I'll grant you that.
And I was looking at it, scrolling on the menu, and then when they brought out the regular menus, I picked that up and I tried to scroll it. But again, that is the first and only time that it had ever happened, and like I said, I
hopefully the last.
Yeah, I know, right? And I do think that it was. I think that it was because of the fact that I had just been looking at a regular phone or looking at my phone.
The only similar experience I've had is I do dream in screen mode.
Yeah,
like I have dreams where
you've spoken of that before.
I am not looking at a phone in my dream.
Yeah,
I am looking at what's in the phone. Like I'm scrolling, and that's my entire vision. Like there's no peripheral image of me like holding a phone, looking at a laptop. It's just a screen.
Yeah.
And that's all I see. And that says a lot about the way I relate to it in real life.
And at least for me, given my attention span in general, like it's more noticeable even away from my phone when I'm watching TV or movies, where it's like I won't even watch a full episode. I'll watch 20 minutes of one episode, go to another show, watch 20 minutes of that, and back.
How about Lent is coming up. For Lent, you can give up stopping an episode in the middle. That would be.
I could try that.
That would be a test for you.
Olivia would love that.
Yeah.
Olivia. No,
I'm
okay.
sure
So,
she
so
would.
here's the thing. When we sit down to watch something together, I don't do that. The point
okay.
is like I know she wants
But
to watch it.
even when you're on your own.
But if I'm on my own, I would have to make the conscious effort to not just be like last night I started rewatching Black Panther, and I got about halfway through, and I'm like, I not even halfway. It was at the part where they're chasing Claw through it was like South Korea in the car, and the chase just went on a little too long. I'm like, I've seen this. It was better in the theater, and I just moved on. And
you have to commit.
And you have to commit to that, right?
To whatever it
is.
is.
No, even before that, I was having my my moment where I'm watching the changing aspect ratio, and that's what I'm focusing on, because the Disney Plus version of it has incorporated a bunch of their IMAX footage, so the black bars would show up and disappear, and I was like,
oh, yeah.
I was like counting them and seeing where they went and not paying attention to what I'm watching, and it's just a habit of my poor attention span, and for me. When I'm rewatching stuff, and this kind of goes back to the addiction stuff, when I was still using substances, meaning downers, I could sit there and watch the same show the whole way through, over and maybe not the same one, but go from show to show and never flip between anything because I was suppressing my energy. I was suppressing everything, so I could just sit there and basically be vegetative and take in what I was watching passively. When I got sober, that got a lot harder. When I was young, I would talk about when I was younger, I'd say, what is it going to be like once I get sober? Because there's such a gap there that the person I was beforehand and the person you are afterwards when you're much older are very, very different. And the last thing I could think about, they talk about how if you go through trauma, you kind of stop developing at that age. I don't know if that's what happened to me, but attention span wise, my attention span was always bad. But first of all, years of ADHD meds suppressed by downers meant that there was some facsimile of an attention span that is not there anymore. And everything I do now means that to focus, at least at work, when I'm prepping the show, when I'm doing work afterwards, when we're organizing everything, scheduling things, that's all stuff that I've had to learn how to do otherwise. And it's because it's work. And if it's not done right, you get in trouble. At home, there are no such limitations on whether I watch the same thing properly or not. Nobody's going to care, but it does myself a disservice. It harms me to not try to focus on things more properly.
So maybe that would be a good practice.
Idea for
in
Lent.
Mindfulness and at least being present and committing to what you planned to do for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
We could armchair a psychologist about this for hours, I'm sure, but the main takeaway here is that we are cooked, our brains are rotted, and there is no going back.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.